Welcome to EDU World Space.
A doctor prescribes 100 milligrams of antibiotic to be taken every 8 hours. And just before each tablet is taken, it should be 20%. That's a 20% there, not 20 milligrams.
Here's a clean and professional
20% of the drug
with
remains in the
calculations shown
body.
in the image.
So for part A, well, before we get into that,
Application
let's
of the
actually
work
just
energy
draw a picture
theorem,
here of what's
wet.
going on.
From the work energy theorem, the force F is given by F equals
You
the
have your,
frac tex KE,
you get your
where
injection, so you have
KE
100
equals kinetic
milligrams.
energy, S
8
is
hours
stopping
later,
distance. If I'm given for object A,
you're down to
FA equals frac
20%, which is just
100,000,
20.
0.10.
And then you get another dosage
225,
at the 8 hour point,
0.15
so you
tex
jump
makes
back
it.
up
And
to
force ratio
100,
frac
so now you add 100, so you're at
FE
120.
equal frac 0.10, 0.15 equals
And then
frac 2 null
you
result.
wait until you get to
box frac
8 hours
FA,
later,
FB.
20% of
PDF
that,
version of
then
this
you do another
explanation?
injection, and so on. So now, for part A here, how much of the drug is in the body just after the second tablet is taken? So this is when you take the first tablet, you have 100, and then you take your second tablet, and we see that we are at 120. So how did we get there? We just did 100 plus 20, but then where did the 20 come from? 20 came from taking 0.2 of the original 100. So the answer there will just be 120. And then after the third tablet, so then again, so here we're at 120. Then we come down to 20%. Then we take our third tablet, so this is first, second tablet, third, and right after we take that, we shoot back up here by 100. So what's the total amount? Well, it's just going to be the 100 that we add here plus the 20% of the remaining quantity that we had, which was 120 from our previous answer. So go ahead and just simplify this, and this is just 124. So that's after the third tablet, and the 120 was after the second tablet. So 100 after the first, 120 after the second, and then up here at 124 after the third. So now for part B, they're letting QN be the amount of antibiotic in the body after the nth tablet. So here we can see like this is Q1, Q2, and then the 124 from the previous part is Q3 and so on. Let's find the equation for Qn plus 1 in terms of Q. And we can kind of see how to do this from part A. So the answer here, so this is after you get the dosage of 100. This is where the 100 is coming from. But what are you adding the 100 to each time? You're adding it to 20% from your previous dosage. So this will be 0.2 of your previous dosage QN. And this is kind of the formula that we used indirectly in part A. This is where the 0.2, so this is basically in part A, we did Q2 equals 0.2 Q1, and Q3 equals 0.2 Q2. And let's see if we could throw that part C on the same page here. So I'm going to squeeze that in. What quantity of the antibiotic remains in the body in the long run? So basically here, we want to know what's the limit of QN. If you continue to take these tablets every 8 hours, what's your QN going to approach? So here we had 100, then it jumped all the way to 120, but then it doesn't jump quite as high to 124. So maybe this dosage is not going to infinity. It's probably going to just level off somewhere. So you had a big jump slow down, then we can see that it's just going to continue to slow and slow and slow down. Let's find the actual limit that it approaches. So the way to find this limit is to use part B and take the limit as n goes to infinity on both sides of this equation. Then since this n is only differing from n by 1, these two limits are the same. So if we're saying, for example, let's denote this limit by L, then in part B, if we plug in the limit on each side, we have L equals 100 plus 0.2L. Because again, these two quantities, Qn and Qn plus 1, have the same limit. Same limit. In which we're denoting by L. So plugging in L in part B to both sides, we have this, and then just solve this for L. This is just a linear equation. You have 0.8 L equals 100, and then just divide both sides by 0.8, and you get L equals 125 milligrams. So this is the limiting dosage in the long run if we continue to use the formula in part B, and that's our final answer.